Ah, that's really annoying. Alright guys, welcome to part 3 on the Polaris Predator 500. As you guys know, we picked this machine up for 800 bucks a couple days ago and had a couple problems. We are piecing it back together, and last video we actually got the whole thing back together. We got spark, we got the new woodruff key in there because we found out that it was sheared off, making the timing wrong on this thing. We got all the timing correct, we put it all back together, we went for the first start, and it would not start. So we did a quick compression test on it. It came back with like 10 pounds of compression. So right now we're going to attempt to adjust the valves. Basically, to adjust these valves, you have to shim these. So underneath these buckets right here, there are tiny little shims. I'll show you guys here pretty soon. And what we're gonna do is replace those shims with bigger ones. Right now, the valves are a little loose. I'd like to make them a little bit tighter. We're gonna replace them with some bigger shims and see if the compression goes up. And then we'll attempt to start this thing again. If the compression does not change, it is probably the piston causing all these problems, which we have not dug into yet. If the valves don't work, we're going to take off the head and inspect the piston. So stay tuned, should be a pretty fun video. We're gonna dig right into it. Well, so this valve I just took off, there's not even a shim in there. So I wonder if my feeler gauge was just being weird and wouldn't get in there, and that's why it felt normal, but that shim's not even in there, so that's not good. That's why it was opening so far. Yeah, we're probably gonna put like a 2mm in there and go from there. All right, let's get the last shim in and put it back together and see what we have for readings, and then we'll probably have to do this again. All right, so all these are in spec. This one, and this one, except for this one right here. So we're gonna quick go over how we do this. So this one is a little bit tight, this valve. So let's take a look at our shims here. So if this one's tight, just by a tiny bit, this one's a, let's see what it is. This one is a 2mm exactly. So if it's a little bit tight, we want to go down a size to the 1.95. That's the one we're going to pick. So let's reinstall that. Come back over here. It was just barely tight, so this should work out perfectly now. So we install that in there, like that. Get this bucket in here. There we go. All right, now we gotta get the cams on and then get the feeler gauge in there and see if we did it correctly. Hopefully we did, and then all of them are in spec. All right, we just took the feeler gauge underneath all of these valves and they are all in spec. So now what we can do is get the timing chain back on and torque all these back down, and then put the valve cover on and see if this thing starts up. See if we get a little bit more compression now that the valves are all in spec. All right, we've got gas in the carburetor, all the valves are in spec. Let's attempt to start this thing. All right, here we go. Nothing. Not even a backfire. Absolutely nothing. I don't get that. I don't know. Alright, still can't get it. Compression test still says 0. I'm not sure if that compression reading's correct. I poured oil down the cylinder and then tested it again, and it still says 0. So, or 10, I guess I should say. Didn't go up at all when I poured oil down the cylinder. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's something with the decompression release where it's releasing all the compression. Yeah, I really don't know. It looks like it's blowing gas out of the carburetor as well. It should be sucking it in. So something's a little bit off with this. Alright, so next plan, I think we're going to be taking apart the whole engine, at least the top end, and checking out the valves. I just have a feeling that one of the valves is bent and not closing, which probably is an intake valve. Knowing that the flywheel key was sheared off tells me that it was out of time, which tells me that the piston could have been coming up and hitting those valves and destroying them. So the previous owner said they weren't when he checked them, but you know, he's ran it a couple times after that, after he installed the head, and maybe bent another valve. So, you know, knowing that it has 0 compression, it's got to be that, or, you know, it's basically all it can be, because I did put oil down the cylinder and the compression didn't go up, which would mean that the rings are fine. So something is going on with the valves for sure. They're shimmed correctly, so it's not that. So it almost has to be a bent valve, or a valve that's, you know, not coming up. I don't know, or not sealing properly. So we're taking everything off, starting fresh, checking out the piston, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So everything has to come off. The pipe has to come off. The valve cover has to come off. The carburetor has to come off. All the oil lines have to come off. So a lot of work ahead of us, but we gotta check those valves out. So let's do that right. All right, we got the whole top end off the engine. Check this out. The cylinder wall looks amazing. No scratches on there, just as we suspected, because we knew the rings weren't letting any oil by. So the piston looks good. It's in the right position. This dot needs to be towards the left-hand side of the bike. So it's going to be, when you're looking at the bike, it's going to be towards the left, near the stator side. So that looks really good. Piston looks good. The gasket was good, wasn't leaking by or anything. And we decided to check out the valves. Check this out. From first glance, they look pretty good, don't they? Doesn't look too bad. You know, the average person wouldn't think there was anything wrong with them. You know, they look like they're sealing properly until you look at the intake side. This one right here. Check this out. There's a little bit of a gap right there. See that? So it's bent. This valve is bent a little bit, and it's not sealing. So all the compression just went right out the window right there into that gap. So you can see the other ones are fine. This is what they're supposed to look like. See how they're sealed like that? There's no gap around there. This one's got a pretty big gap. You can really tell. Another way to tell is by pouring some WD-40 in it. So see how these, pour some down here. See how it pools around there and doesn't go by? We'll check this one. See it go all in there? See how it just goes right in? See it going down into that crack? Just disappears. See that one? Doesn't go. This one, you can see doesn't go. This one, there's still a puddle. But this one you can fill up as much as you want. Just all disappears. And then look at, you can see it coming out. Right there. So if we take a flashlight and look in there, we can actually see where it's leaking from. And yep, nothing out of this one. It's a bunch of it's coming out of there. Let's see from the other side, anything leaking out of here? Nope. Nope. So these three are fine. Nothing's going by these. It's just this one right there. So this one's bent. So luckily, we actually have an extra head with extra valves right here. So we can use the valve from in there and replace it with that one. So let's quick do that, and then we're gonna slap on a new valve seal as well, since we're already in here. All right, we're over here getting the valve out. I'm just using the valve compressor right here. We got the valve out, and everything looks good. Springs are good. Check out the valve though. She's a tad bent. You can see it's going off this way, angled. Should be straight up and down. So you can really tell it's angled. And then if you can't really tell when it's laying down, but yeah, you can just tell it's really angled. And then if you twist it this way, you can see it angled this way. It's a little hard to tell, but yeah, it's definitely bent. That's for sure. We're gonna go onto this head right here. We're gonna rob this valve out of there and see if that one's straight, and then we'll compare the two and then put the good one back in. We also have to lap the valve surface right here for the new valve. But yeah, all the other valves are good. I checked them and blew some air through it and couldn't hear anything. No fluid flows through there. So those valve surfaces and seals are good, nice and tight. So this is the only one we really have to worry about. You can see how bent it is right there though. Look at that thing. It's really bowing over that way. All right, we've got the new one and the old one. You can see how this one's so much more bent than the new one. See, the new one is super straight right here. This one's bent completely that way. It's hard to tell, kind of, but yeah, you can definitely tell. So this is the new one. We're gonna clean this one up and then put that in there, and then we're gonna lap it. All right, we've got some lapping compound here. Gonna put a little bit of that around here. Great, take the valve. Drop that in. Like that. All right, that should be nice and good. You can now see the ring around there that we lapped. So you want to just check and make sure the whole surface is covered. Looks like we did a good job. So that'll seal nice and tight in there. We can check it once we got the spring in there. We can pour some WD-40 down it and check for leaks, but I think that's gonna seal nice and tight. So we're just gonna clean out the inside of this, clean this up a bit, reinstall it, and we should be good to go. All right guys, so I just put some more WD-40 on the the valves, you can see that this is the valve that we just redid. It is holding up. You can see WD-40 on the top of it. It's not leaking through, so that's really good. Nothing's leaking through at all. You can see nothing's coming through. No liquid whatsoever. So I think we're good here. Alright guys, we got the head back on with the fixed valve. To torque these bolts down, it's kind of a weird process. Quick read it out of the manual. I already did it, but basically it's tighten the 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 22 foot-pounds. Did that already. Leave the bolts tightened to the torque specification for 1 minute to allow the gasket to seat. We did that. Loosen the 4 bolts, 1 full turn, 360 degrees. Did that. And then it says tighten the 4 bolts to 35 Newton meters or 26 foot-pounds, and then an additional 1/4 turn. So we did that as well. And then it says tighten the 4 bolts an additional 1/4 turn, 90 degrees, did that. And then tighten the 2 8mm cylinder head flange bolts to 71 inch-pounds, which we did that. So these are all torqued down properly. Let's get the cams in there. We're probably going to have to re-shim this one right here, the one that we fixed, because that's probably going to be too tight now. So let's go do that. Alright, so we got coolant in it, we got oil in it, we got the whole top end back together, carburetor's on, we've got gas going to the carburetor, we've got the battery hooked up. So this is the first attempt. I did turn over the engine by hand. It did feel like I had a ton more compression, so hopefully that was the problem. Alright, let's see what happens here. Need the pipe back on there. Alright, here we go. Alright guys, second attempt. First attempt did not go. Let's put some more gas on the carburetor, try this again. I heard something knock in there, so I don't know if the Woodruff key broke again. We're gonna go check that. I heard a sound I did not like coming from here, so I'm thinking that key broke again. I don't know why it's doing that. It's being ridiculous. Should have just ordered 2 of the keys right away, because I don't have another key. Just gonna pour oil out of it. Let's see. Please be good to go. I see a piece of metal. Oh, it broke again. Are you kidding me? Ah, that's really annoying. Look at this. It's right over here. Broke again. Right in half. You've got to be kidding me. That sucks. What is the deal with that? Let's get this back on there. Why would that break again? It was just about to pop back over. Yeah, look at that in there. Broken right off. Gotta be kidding me. And look down here. Broke right clean in half again. There's the other piece for it in there. Huh. Let's try to fish it out. Man, that is so strange. Why does it keep breaking? We just started too. It's about to start. It was about to pop over and start, and then oops. You gotta be kidding me. Same thing as the other one. Broke right in half. Clean in half again. So what do we do now? I do not know. That really sucks. Man, does that suck. Alright, we got a new Woodruff key in there from the hardware store. So it's not Polaris, so I don't know how long it's gonna last, but it matched up perfectly pretty much to the Polaris one. It was a little bit skinnier, so probably won't be as strong. We're gonna try to attempt to start it up right now again. Man, this is what, like the 15th attempt? So let's get some gas in the carburetor and try this again. Should be interesting. Will it start? That's what I'm talking about. Ooh, she started. Finally. That was awesome to hear that. Oh man. After what, like 17 attempts, finally started. I don't know if the key broke again or what, but let's try to start it up one more time. Ooh, I think it broke. Yeah. I think she broke again. I don't know why that keeps doing that. Just keeps on breaking. But we heard it start up, so that was good. We've got the Polaris key ordered for it. So hopefully that new Woodruff key works and we won't have any more problems. If we do, I think we have to replace the flywheel. It might be a little bit too worn out because of the previous break. It kind of rounded it out a little bit more, so I think that might be why it's breaking. But it started and it sounded pretty good, so I'm just happy with that. Alright, looks like the key did break again. You can see another one bites the dust right in half, just like the other one. So we have to figure out why that's doing that, because somebody can solve this issue and actually ride this quad. I'm gonna order up a new flywheel for it and see if that takes care of the issue. If not, I'm really not sure what it would be. It's definitely not the crankshaft because that looks pretty smooth and it doesn't look like it's been beat up or anything. So it's gotta be the flywheel. So I guess we'll order that up and then we'll wait for the new key to come and then try this all over again. Well, at least we got her going today. That was a huge win for this. I was pretty pumped to hear it run for the first time after hours and hours and hours of work. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Just really have to figure out that keyway situation and I think we'll be good. The valve we did is working out good. Looks like we have plenty of compression to run it. You know, it fired up pretty much right away after I choked it, and it sounded really good like I said before. So next video, hopefully we'll have the flywheel here and then we can put the new keyway in and test it out and then take this thing for the first ride. So stay tuned for that. We still have quite a bit of work to do on it, but it's coming along. Anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you got a Polaris Predator 500 and it won't start, I would check that keyway. Seems like it's a pretty common problem, those splitting in half like that. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Until next time, we